It has happened. It's happening. It's happening now. They executed Order 66 on social media. This is Kneon. This is CLOWNFISH TV. And this is going to be an interesting video. Yesterday, I read that Reddit was planning to do its largest ever ban wave coming on Monday. I didn't know if it was legit or not, but it is. Reddit actually purged thousands of accounts. YouTube purged thousands of accounts. Twitch is purging people from its platform, and it's all happening on the exact same day. Now, you tell me this is all coincidence. Right? This is all coincidence. This all happened on the same day across 3 major social media platforms. We'll give you the rundown from the Business Insider. Reddit, YouTube, and Twitch are taking major steps to crack down on hate speech from pro-Trump and far-right groups. Major social media platforms on Monday took action against Trump, pro-Trump support groups, and far-right accounts for violating their policies against hate speech. Reddit banned the Donald, the largest pro-Trump subreddit. Twitch suspended Trump's official account, and YouTube banned a number of prominent white supremacist channels. The moves come as major advertisers are boycotting Facebook over the company's refusal to take more aggressive action against hate speech and misinformation. So this is interesting. These are all of the platforms you kind of would expect. YouTube surprises me a little bit. I got to be honest. YouTube has been kind of lenient for quite some time, you know, but they do seem to be tightening their grip. I think Reddit and Twitch, I'm not surprised at all. I'd throw Reddit and Twitch into the same group as Twitter, where basically we had a bunch of people make an exodus from Tumblr to Twitter and Twitch and Reddit, you know, and it doesn't surprise me at all. So Reddit, Amazon's subsidiary Twitch, and Google's YouTube took action on Monday against prominent pro-Trump and far-right accounts and groups, as well as Trump himself, in an attempt to crack down on hate speech on their platforms. Reddit banned more than 2,000 subreddits that regularly broke its rules about harassment, hate speech, and targeting, including the Donald, a pro-Trump forum with more than 790,000 users. The community has consistently hosted and upvoted more rule-breaking content than average, and its mods have refused to meet our most basic expectations, said CEO Steve Huffman. The subreddits were banned as part of Reddit's enforcement of a new policy banning people or subreddits who promote hate based on identity or vulnerability, or targets victims of a major violent event and their families. Well, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. Twitch, a video streaming platform popular among gamers, not anymore. Not anymore. It's for ladies who like to shake their boobs. Had temporarily suspended Donald Trump's official account for violating hateful conduct rules. Hateful conduct is not allowed on Twitch. The company said in a statement, in line with our policies, President Trump's channel has been issued a temporary suspension from Twitch for comments made on stream, and the offending content had been removed. Twitch cited 2 examples of offending content from Trump, one from a campaign rally in 2016, and another from Trump's recent campaign visit in Tulsa, Oklahoma, both of which show the president making racist comments about Mexican Americans. What are those quotes? I don't know. I don't know what the quotes are. I'll have to go Google them. Also on Monday, YouTube announced it had banned the accounts of many popular white supremacists. David Duke, Richard Spencer, you get it. But there's like 25,000 accounts, I think, that got snapped. We have strict policies prohibiting hate speech on YouTube and terminate any channel that repeatedly or egregiously violates those policies, a YouTube spokesperson said in a statement provided to Business Insider. A YouTube spokesperson told The Verge, which first reported the news, after updating our guidelines to better address supremacist content, we saw a 5-time spike in video removals and have terminated over 25,000 channels for violating policies. Social media companies face growing pressure over hate speech. The actions by Reddit, Twitch, and YouTube came the same day that a long list of major brands announced they would pause advertising on Facebook and subsidiary Instagram, citing inaction around hate speech. You think this is all coincidental? Golly, it's really strange how all of these social media platforms, as if they're in lockstep with one another, decided that on the same day, that was going to be the day that the snap occurred, that many accounts got pulled. And I'm not saying, I want to be very clear, I'm not saying that I agree with what some of these channels were promoting. And if it is legit hate speech, that's one thing. But it does show you how coordinated things actually are back channel. You know, we kind of figured this. We've been talking about this off and on the channel, that we think a lot of these social media outlets kind of talk to each other. These journalists talk to each other, and they all seem to be having a powwow about how to control the flow of spice behind the scenes. But if you need an example of just how coordinated these efforts are, this is a perfect example. And in the future, when they start purging channels that aren't really violating what anybody would consider hate speech, you can point to this today, the 29th of June, 2020, as being the day that social media decided it was just going to flip the switch. They were going to execute Order 66. Civil rights groups and Anti-Defamation League called for the advertising boycott earlier this month following Facebook's refusal to take action against Donald Trump, in which he called those protesting the death of George Floyd thugs and suggested violence against them. He suggested violence against them. Zuckerberg was like, yeah, we're not going to get involved in this. Twitter labeled identical tweets from Trump as glorifying violence. Well, here's the thing. You have to evenly enforce the rules. I've seen lots of people on the left make comments on Twitter that were absolutely promoting violence. I've seen comic book artists suggest that people of certain genders and ethnicities be hit with ball bats on Twitter, and Twitter really didn't do anything about it. On Friday, the North Face joined the Facebook boycott, including other brands like Verizon, Unilever, Honda, Coke, Ben & Jerry's, etc., etc. The boycott grew to add Starbucks, Adidas, Pepsi, Denny's, Diageo, ConAgra Foods, and Clorox. So you can't even bleach your eyes anymore. Man, what a bummer. Some of the companies also announced a pause on advertising across all social media platforms, citing the broader problem of their role in amplifying misinformation and hate speech. It is an election year. The misinformation is going to flow like water this year. It's absolutely going to flow. But you tell me this wasn't a coordinated effort on the part of all the social media platforms, Silicon Valley, to just push the button and open up the door. Again, I'm not condoning what these channels are saying. Some of these channels are, I'm sure, pretty far right or pretty extreme. But if you're going to purge channels, you have to do the same for the other side too. Now, as I understand it, with Reddit, apparently they did. Reddit removed 2,000 racist and violent forums, including the Donald, but they also banned Chapo Trap House, I think, too, which is on the right. Chapo Trap House already had been quarantined by the site in 2019. Now, I was like, the first thing I thought was, what is going to happen to subreddits like Kotaku in Action? And apparently nothing yet. And I don't know if they're like how far you have to take it to get banned by Reddit. But what I'm seeing here is that a lot of these subreddits are already working on setting up their own privately hosted websites. Kotaku in Action has their own website, and here's a subreddit called Watch Reddit Die. It's done. We've watched Reddit die. So they have a new site called Ruckus, and I guess people are going to ruckus.com. That's RUQQUS to try to jump ship from Reddit. Everyone is desperate to leave the fundamentally bad faith nature of Reddit, so Ruckus is currently overwhelmed. Give the drama time to calm down and try the site again. This is what's going to happen. People are going to return to more private websites. They're probably going to go back to having their own forums. And, for the freaking third time, I don't agree with the channels or whatever that have been banned. That's not the issue. The issue is we've watched 3 major social media platforms push the button on the same day and be able to purge their sites from whatever content they deem offensive. You know, whether or not it is or is not offensive, I don't know. I don't go to these subreddits. I have no idea. But as a user, it's kind of scary because it just shows that any one of these sites at any point in time could just nuke your channel, nuke your account, you know? And that's kind of scary because what's going to happen is they'll start with the extreme channels and then we'll just start kind of moving closer and closer to the center. And eventually what will happen is channels that are relatively mild are also going to get purged. Whether it's on YouTube or Twitch or Reddit, subreddits are going to get purged. Maybe I should hit a refresh here and see if Kotaku is still there. Yeah, I guess it is. Now, I think where some of this got started was a couple of weeks ago, there was an article on Newsweek that the former Reddit CEO called out the company for amplifying racism. This is Ellen K. Powell, who was, I think she was only the CEO for like 6 months. But she called out Reddit. She said, I'm obligated to call you out. You should have shut down the Donald instead of amplifying it and its hate, racism, and violence. So much of what is happening now lies at your feet. You don't get to say BLM when Reddit nurtures and monetizes white supremacy and hate all day long. So here's what's going to happen. Again, you're going to have people that maybe their content isn't that extreme, but they're going to be rattled because they're going to be like, oh my God, you know, they could purge me tomorrow. They could move the goalpost tomorrow and my content, my channel, my account could be purged tomorrow. And that's kind of what happened with Tumblr. We saw this happen with Tumblr, where Tumblr, you know, once they started banning all the porn and all the lewds, and they started catching people up in this ban that weren't necessarily doing anything bad. They were actually posting, you know, pretty innocent artwork. We saw that people started leaving Tumblr in droves. And it wasn't just because the porn had been taken down. It's because people no longer trusted Tumblr. And Verizon bought Tumblr for over $1 billion, and they wound up selling it for $3 million, the entire platform, to WordPress for next to nothing. Next to nothing. A private YouTuber could have probably, you know, somebody like PewDiePie could have just cut a check and bought all of Tumblr. But what are you buying? You know, a pile of shit at this point. They ran it into the ground. And that's what's going to happen to Reddit. I think Reddit, its day of reckoning is coming. And Twitch, people are already looking for an alternative to Twitch, including talk of this Brime thing, which I'll follow up on that. Paul Tassi did a follow-up on the Dr. Disrespect articles, multiple articles that they've been doing for the last couple days. And it turns out that Brime, this supposed streaming service, has nothing to do with Spotify, nothing to do with Dr. Disrespect's Twitch ban. But the thing is that people are going to be very, very thirsty for alternatives to social media platforms that they're afraid are going to get ban happy. I think Twitter is a lost cause at this point. Reddit is headed there. We saw how the comic book subreddit was banning comics that they thought were Comicsgate that weren't even Comicsgate just because these people might be conservative. I mean, that's kind of crazy, right? And now we're seeing, you know, all these other purges on these other platforms, and Facebook will probably cave too. Eventually, if they run out of advertising dollars, they're going to cave. So, you know, what's going to happen is there are going to have to be alternatives that pop up that still allow free speech. And again, I'm not advocating legit hate speech. I'm not advocating for really extreme content, not at all. But you know, what happens is it always starts out with, well, we're going to start, you know, purging problematic people. And then the goalpost moves. And then people who maybe aren't that problematic, they're just guilty of wrongthink. They get caught up in it. They lose monetization. They have their, you know, on YouTube, they have their videos sort of delisted or deranked. It's harder to find their content. It's scary as a content creator, as somebody who uses social media every damn day. To get their stuff out there, to see these platforms just be able to push a button and nuke this many people, it's not going to end here. It just isn't. So there's got to be another alternative. I would strongly suggest you invest some time in starting your own website just in case. Build a life raft now. Don't wait until they zap your channel or zap your social media account for stupid reasons. And we know there are people out there who are on the prowl to constantly cancel. And if they can get your channel removed or get your social media account banned by lying even, they'll do it. I've seen it happen before. I've seen mass flaggings, and I've seen people try to get other people's channels taken down because they're petty bitches. We had a couple of live streams taken down. We did absolutely nothing wrong. We were just talking about comic books. Nothing edgy at all. Just a couple older guys sitting around talking about comic books, but somebody thought we should be canceled for that. And now YouTube thankfully did reinstate us, but there may come a day when they don't. You know, that's totally possible. This is kind of, you know, this should scare anybody. I don't care what your political leanings are. I don't care if you even care about politics. This should scare anybody on any of these platforms right now, because you don't know where it's going to stop. And, you know, there's been a lot of talk about, you know, YouTube in particular favoring network TV, network broadcast, you know, Jimmy Kimmel over Angry Joe. You know, and this is probably going to continue. So as long as you're hosting your content on other people's platforms, and this is how they deal with issues, and they all do it in lockstep on the same day, push the button on the same day, because they're all talking to each other behind the scenes, then you know you're not 100% safe. And the rules change every damn day. You don't know, you know, what was acceptable 5 years ago is not necessarily acceptable today. Videos you're putting out today may be considered hate speech 2 months from now. It's scary. It really is scary. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll try to keep on top of this situation as it develops. I do expect this to be phase one. I think there's going to be a lot more purging. The question is, will these social media platforms be able to survive if they curate their audiences? Will people put up with it? You know, or will they leave on principle and just be like, you know, this is going too far? You know, I don't know. I have no idea. No idea whatsoever what's going to happen. Gonna wrap it up. We'll talk to you guys later. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.